Hello, it's Brother Aaron. It's the night watch, as Chooch would say. It's the night watch. We're here with comfortable lighting, just chilling. And when they say peace and security or peace and safety, then what? Sudden destruction. We've been doing this on this channel for 4 years, waiting for Jesus. And we continue to watch. We continue to wait. We continue to look. We continue to pay attention to the things that are happening in this world. We read our Bible and say, wait a second. That looks familiar. That's in the Bible. It's coming to life. Hey, Janet. Hey, Jeffrey. Hey, everybody. We're live right now. Hey, Cindy. Fashionably late. Well, hey, what are you going to do? End times. What's going on? Emery. Hey, good to see you from Manitoba, Canada, representing there in the chat. How you doing, Nicole? Good to see you guys. We're just going to read some articles here and talk about Jesus, talking about the coming of Jesus, talking about the rapture. Hey, Bobby, blessings. What's going on? All right. So, hey, Bud. Yeah, Nicole, let's go, Bud. Yeah. Vision Vet 111. Very nice. Visionary Vet, I should say. There's no more time left, Janet says. All right. That's just, Okay, so this article was sent to me by, I don't know if they want me to say their name, but I'll just say that their name is Vanish-777777. Probably not their first name, probably just their username. Anyway, this was an email sent to me, and it was a great article. And I thought, you know what? Let's bust this out. So we've got this United Nations, and they're gathering together. There's a summit for the future. And that's going to be in September. That's going to be about 10 days from now. In fact, I think they're gathering together in New York right now. So we're going to read some articles. We're going to read some Bible. And we'll just hang out for a bit here, okay? All right. So first things first, we're going to show this. Take my mug off the screen. We're going to open this article that was sent to me. And you know what? Before I do that, let me make sure that you guys can actually hear that. So I'm going to hide on stream. I'm going to kick that. I'm going to just share this one more time. Make sure I'm doing this right because I want to have you hear the volume. I want to make sure you can get it. So, yeah, perfect. Oh, there you go. There we go. Perfect. I had to switch something over. Okay. Okay, perfect. So we're going to do that again. We're going to go over here. Here's a video compilation here. We're going to play this for you.
It is a reminder of the solemn responsibility we carry to uphold peace and security across the world.
Maintaining international peace and security.
Peace and security.
No, peace and security.
Peace and security.
Peace and security.
In peace and security.
Peace and security.
Peace and security.
Peace and security.
In international peace and security.
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 Then peace and security.
Peace and security, and in full recognition.
Say this again. The United States stands ready to work with all member states that are genuinely committed to advancing peace and security.
With Jerusalem as the future capital of two states, living side by side in peace and security.
To allow both peoples to live in lasting peace and security.
Coexisting in peace and security with Israel.
National peace and security.
And for global peace and security.
Of international peace and security.
To create two states, Palestine and Israel, living side by side in peace and security.
Peace and security.
Peace and security. Both Israelis and Palestinians to live side by side in peace and security.
Peace and security. But the peace and security that this council is mandated to protect.
To restore peace and security in the region.
Peace and security in the region.
Peace and security.
To maintain international peace and security.
In peace and security.
Peace and security.
It's peace and security.
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 Peace and security in the region.
In peace and security.
Peace and security.
Of international peace and security and jeopardizes it.
Peace and security.
The peace and security.
No peace and security.
Peace and security, and to stop that war.
Okay, so I don't know about you guys, but what do they say? Can you type in what they said there? I just have a bad memory. What were they saying in that video? Let me know what they were saying. They were saying peace and security. Yeah, there you go. You guys got it. Peace and security. Why do we care that they're saying peace and security? Peace and security. Well, what does the Bible say when they say peace and security? We're going to use the ESV just for this moment. And it says, while people are saying there is peace and security, then sudden destruction will come upon them as labor pains upon a pregnant woman, and they shall not escape. But you are not in darkness. Oh, no, you're not in darkness, the ones that are watching, the ones that are in Christ. Brothers, for that day to surprise you like a thief, for you are children of the light. I want to be in the light as you are in the light. I want to shine like the stars in the heaven. Yeah, all I want is to be in the light. So when they say peace and safety, labor pains are coming upon them, and they will not escape. So they've been saying this. They've been saying this for a bit. Now, this video that I just played was between October and February. So this was when they were saying that in the last year or so. And so the thing is, I believe that there's going to be some sort of a covenant strengthened with money. Daniel 9:27 is one of the benchmark locations as to why we believe that. So here, I'll put the Bible back up again. So Daniel 9:27, and I'll just use the King James here. We'll go to Daniel 9:27. The Hebrew word really means strengthen. And where is our Daniel? Daniel was traveling tonight on a plane. I can see the raptured group heading for heaven. Okay, so, and he shall confirm the covenant is what it says here. But the Hebrew word really, gabar, is to strengthen right here. You can see that. And that word is H1396, strengthen. And so they've been making covenants every year. They come together pretty much every September, and they make covenants, and they say peace and safety, and they strengthen the covenant every year. They strengthen it more and more and more and more. And so this peace and security thing is strengthened quite a bit. So really, it's kind of a since 2020, really, it's been a combination of Daniel 9:27 ramping up, strengthening a covenant with many for 1 week, and that word is Shabuah. That's another way of saying 7 years. And so we're waiting for the 7 years to show up. And so here we are, September. And so next year, September 2025, will be another time when they come together. If we're still here, they're going to come together again in September and talk about peace and security and strengthen the covenant. They've been doing this every year since 2020. So they're going to reestablish and re-strengthen the stuff they've already been talking about. And you guys are probably familiar by now that they got Agenda 2030, and they are going to be talking about that again in New York at this time. And I think there's 17 initiatives in that. So yeah, that's right. End times. We are at the door. We're at the door. The 6,000 years is almost up. Not all of us are human. None of us truly know what time the rapture is going to take place. But the Bible tells us to look for these things. When you see them say peace and security, well, they're saying it on a global format, trying to unite the world with these words. And so let me just go read that article now that was sent to me, and we'll take it away here. So this is where we got the video from, and I'll put these websites in the link in the description box, and that says wgsg.com/peace and security. And so we talked about 1 Thessalonians 5, verse 3, where it says peace and security. I showed you that video. And we have a couple versions: English Standard Version, Berean Literal Bible, Christian Standard Bible, Holman Christian Standard Bible. Maybe I can make this a little bigger for you so you can see it a little better. That's a little better. Holman Christian Standard Bible, it'll say peace and security. But even if you go into the Strong's word for safety, it'll say security. So either way, it's essentially the same meaning. And below you you will find portions of the United Nations Pact for the Future Agreement, which will likely be signed September 23rd, 2024. So that's what this website is saying. The section that are being highlighted to bring attention to them, consider Daniel 9:27, which you and I just talked about, and 1 Thessalonians 5, verse 3. So that's exactly what we just talked about. Okay, so here's some excerpts from the United Nations Pact for the future, and this is written July 17th, apparently, in the revised version, point 2 of 2024. So this is a few months ago, like 2 months ago. So we reaffirm, or in other words, we strengthen, and then blah, 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 blah. And then they say peace and security and blah, 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 blah about human rights. You can read that if you'd like. It's just a bunch of noise. Really, it's just the Bible coming to life, in my opinion. That's pretty cool. So let me zoom in a bit more if I can. Okay, page 3. Blah, 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 peace and security. Action 20, blah, 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 peace and security. Action 21, blah, 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 peace and security. Action 39, strengthen, or in other words, Daniel 9:27. Action 40, Daniel 9:27. Action 44, strengthen, Daniel 9:27. Action 45, strengthen, Daniel 9:27. Action 46, strengthen, Daniel 9:27. Action 47, strengthen, Daniel 9:27. Daniel 9:27. Daniel 9:27. Daniel 9:27. Strengthen, action 57. Action 58. Daniel 9:27. Page 5. We reaffirm. We strengthen. Blah 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 blah. You're just making stuff up. Sounds good. Page 9. International peace and security. In other words, international 1 Thessalonians 5 verse 3. How about them apples? And then they're going to make up some stuff. Blobbity boobity boobity boo. And then we got a good old fashioned peace and security. Man, are you guys seeing the theme here? This website did a great job highlighting the peace and security. So thank you to the person who put this together. I like it. And so it goes on with more blah, blah, blahs. And then number 30 here, peace and security with all that stuff. And then number 31, we got more bloobity blues and a peace and security. You know what? I'll actually just read this one. Why not? Well, let's just actually read it. We recognize the interdependence of international peace and security, sustainable development, and human rights, and we reaffirm the importance of the rule of law. We are concerned about the potential impact that the global increase in military expenditures could have on investments in sustainable development and sustaining peace. In other words, blah, 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 peace and security. Bible coming to life. Page 11, peace and security, in section 34. Peace and security on section 34C, peace and security on section 34D. Page 12, we recognize that member states bear the primary responsibility for preventing conflict and building peace in the countries. I'm falling asleep. Peace and security. All right. All right. Now we're talking. Now we're talking. Action 19, a bunch of white noise and peace and security. Nice. Page 13. Number 37, peace and security. Zippity doo-dah, zippity day, lots of noise headed my way, but we got a good old peace and security. 37A, peace and security. Action 20, peace and security. Man, they are just hammering this point home. Number 38, peace and security. And isn't it interesting that all those people in that video representing different countries, they all are saying the same thing? It's like they got the same leader, it's got like they got the same influence. Yeah. Pretty neat. Number 38A, take concrete measures to ensure young persons can participate in decision making at all levels of peace and security, including by increasing opportunities for them to participate in relevant intergovernmental deliberations of United Nations, whatever that means. What in the world does this really mean? It's just a bunch of white noise. Okay, strengthen. There's your Daniel 9:27, and implementing existing youth, peace, and security. Okay, you guys getting the point. Action 21, same thing, peace and security. 39, peace and security. Number 40, United Nations peace operations, including peacekeeping operations, are special political missions and critical tools to maintain international peace and security. We reaffirm or strengthen, and then peace and security. Number 41, same thing, peace and security. Page 15, number 43, peace and security. And number 44, we got peace and security. Page 16, peace and security. Page 16 and 17, peace and security. Peace and security. Page 20, peace and security. Page 21, peace and security. Page 23, peace and security. Peace and security. Page 28 and 29, peace and security. All right, so we got down to the bottom of that article. How about that? So they're not beating around the bush. There is a lot of peace and security. And here's some stuff at the bottom too. Now, I think this other website is pretty similar. So I think it's saying a lot of the same information, but this is, I'm not going to press play here, but this is New York, 2024, the Summit of the Future. That's what they say. And this is September 20 to 23. But I think they're actually gathering in New York right now. And how about that? And so here we are reading our Bibles, counting down to the years, potentially the days of the rapture, and they are doing all this. Like I said, they've been doing this for a couple of years now. This isn't a new thing, but we do expect Daniel 9:27. We expect some sort of a strengthening of covenants that they're already been making, like today and the last couple of years, that kind of idea. And the world is not disappointing. The world events are certainly lining up with biblical prophecies. That is something for sure. And so again, we've got a reconfirmation of these Bible verses, Daniel 9:27 and 1 Thessalonians 5 verse 3. And so I can read a couple more things too, but if there's any questions on what I've said here, or any just general questions about rapture stuff, or any questions in general about the Bible, let me know. Just write question, and I'll pay attention to the chat. Okay. All right. So another thing that I was thinking is, I got a chance to talk with Ty Green on the phone the other day. It was a pleasure to talk with Ty. I'm trying to twist his arm to come and do a live stream with me. So if you guys ever comment on Ty's stuff, just twist his arm and try and get him to hop on. I think that'd be fun to do a live stream with Brother Ty. But one thing that we were saying is it would make sense that the 10 kings would be in place, and that the 10 horns. All right, the 10 horns. And we don't know what or who this actually is, but my assumption has been that it will be BRICS. Right now they got 9. But the interesting thing is, Turkey apparently is applying to become part of this BRICS thing. And apparently that happened on September the 2nd. Let me just read this little article. This is more of a speculation thing, okay? But on this article, when was this written? I think it was written September 3rd. Okay. So what day is September 3rd? September 3rd is a Tuesday. Okay. So a senior official on Tuesday, so that would be September the 3rd, confirmed a report that Turkey wants to join BRICS, but stopped short of declaring that NATO country has formally applied for membership. The Bloomberg News Agency reported Monday that Turkey had officially applied to join BRICS several months ago. Asked about the report, Omar Kelik, spokesman for Turkish president. So I don't know the newest update about what Turkey's up to, but if Turkey is actually applying to become part of the BRICS, and they will be the 10th one, what does that look like? When will it happen? Will this be the finalization of the 10 horns that we see in Daniel and in Revelation? Very possible. And I would say, I believe that BRICS came together. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I believe they came together in January of either 2021 or 2022, and then they started to build from there. So let me show you something else here. So we've got that. We got Turkey. Now Turkey is north of Israel. And this is stuff I've got to learn. I've got to do a bit more study on Ezekiel 38, 39 and what to expect. But Turkey is above Israel. Turkey is very, very Islamic. If you look at this, Islam in Turkey. Turkey is a predominantly Islamic country where up to 99% of Turks are Muslim. Turkish Muslims are largely Sunni and follow the Hanaf school of legal jurisprudence. Alevite Muslims make up anywhere between 15 to 20%, and smaller Jafari Shia Muslims communities are present. Sufism had a long presence and a profound impact on Turkish Islam. So that kind of makes sense that Turkey, if Turkey does become the 10th horn, they're Muslim. We are kind of expecting the 10 horns to come against Israel. We understand that there's a lot of tension between Muslims and Jews. So Turkey would be a really good candidate to be the 10th horn. In fact, I would guess that that's likely going to be the case. And so that's that. Now, I think also, where is the other article that I had here? I was going to, oh yeah, there it is. So this is the guy that's been the president of Turkey since 2014. It looks like his name is Tayyip Erdogan since 2014. So he's been in office for about 10 years. More to be studied on this guy, but I'm pretty sure this guy's full-on Muslim. So that's interesting. The point of that is if Turkey becomes the 10th horn and they're pretty much 100% Muslim and hate Israel, that fits the bill really, really, really nice. That fits it really good. And so we're looking at peace and safety, then sudden destruction. We're looking at the potential 10th horn. And the reason why Ty Green was saying that is because Revelation 12, we were talking about this. So it says, then being with child, she cried out in labor and in pain to give birth. And another sign appeared in heaven. Behold, a great fiery red dragon having 7 heads. Okay, so 7 heads. And 10 horns and 7 diadems on his head. His tail drew a third of the stars of heaven and drew them to the earth, and the dragon stood before the woman who was ready to give birth to devour her child as soon as it was born. And then, Revelation 12, verse 5, she bore a male child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up to God and his throne. Now, notice in Revelation 12, verse 3, that it's got 7 heads and 10 horns. 7 heads and 10 horns. So the 10 horns were there just before the male child was caught up. So we don't necessarily need to see the 10 horns before the rapture, but at the same time, if we do see the finalization of the 10 horns, that would make sense. For me, it would make sense if we're reading the news headlines and all of a sudden a 10th nation is confirmed into BRICS. It would be extra special if it was Turkey because they are Muslim. Let's just pretend in January, for example, BRICS says, we finally found our 10th, and it's Turkey, the Muslim nation that does not like Israel. My red flag's going up. Actually, my white flag, my Jesus flag is going up. If I see the BRICS come together and have 10 horns come together, that would be very, very interesting. And that'll be helpful for us to see what we're supposed to be watching for, right? So again, in Revelation 12, verse 4 or 3, it's the 7 heads and the 10 horns. Notice how the horns, it's not the horns in Revelation 12, verse 3 that has the diadems. It's the heads that have the crowns. The heads have the crowns. The horns don't have the crowns yet, okay? So the 10 horns in Revelation 12, verse 4 don't have the crowns yet. So they're on the scene, but it seems like they don't have full-on power at this very second in this moment. So, and I believe this is rapture time. I believe that Revelation 12, verse 5 is the rapture when the male child is caught up. And Well, I'll show you a verse or two here while we're talking about that. So we're looking at this peace and security thing. We're looking for this covenant to be strengthened, and so we're looking at a woman in travail. But part of the reason why we think that this male child is us is because, first of all, here, let me go over here. So this woman over here, right here, it says woman. This woman is not actually a woman. And bear in mind, the book of Revelation was probably written somewhere in 90 AD, probably around 60 years after Christ was crucified, more or less. So Revelation, when it's talking about the male child, it's not about Jesus because this was written like 60 years after Jesus left the building, after he was crucified. So this is a future thing. And so the woman is not literally a woman, and the male child, therefore, is not literally a child. The child represents something, and the woman represents something. The woman, I believe, is simply representing Israel, and the male child is simply representing us. And over here, we've got some extra little things here because it's talking about the rod of iron, right? And so in Revelation, let's see here, 2 verse 27. And sorry, I'll zip back, and I noticed somebody asked a question or two. I'll go back after I say this. But we've got this rod of iron here, Revelation 2 verse 27. He shall rule them with a rod of iron. But this is here, I'll read the verse before it. And he that, this is Revelation 2:26, and he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron. As the vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as I received of my Father. So this is Jesus giving this authority to us, essentially, to the church. And so we're going to rule with a rod of iron with him, just like the male child in Revelation 12 is going to rule with a rod of iron. And the other awesome spot is in Revelation 3:21, he who overcomes. Let me just read it properly here. 3:21. Here we go, 3:21. To him that overcometh, will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I also overcame and am set down with my Father in his throne. So he's going to grant us to sit with him on the throne. Wow, that's incredible. So this male child is a representation of the church, the Christ dwelling inside the church. It's those who are saved. It's those in the raptured group. So there you go. Now let me just look at the comments and see if there's any questions that I might have missed here. And here. Did I miss anything here? Let me go back a bit here. Okay, so Madison Bailey, you say one will be taken and the other will be left. Okay, thanks for that question, Madison. That's great. That's great. Let's go into that. Let's go into that. Perfect question, Madison, because people get confused about that. So Matthew 24, that's what you're asking about. It's also in Luke 17. And one will be taken, one will be left. Okay, so here's the word taken. That word taken, it's really important to understand that that's paralambano. That Greek word is paralambano, G3880. And that means to receive near. That is to associate with oneself. That is an intimate act, by analogy to assume an office or to receive or to take. And in most cases, this word is used in a very intimate way. In fact, there's a few times when you see this word in the context of marriage. I'll show you that. So one will be taken is actually a positive thing, but I'll show you another verse here. When the angel came, this is in Matthew 1:20, to tell, who was it now? I'll just read the verse, Matthew 1 verse 20. Well, Matthew 1:24. Here, let me get this off here. Matthew 1:24. When you see this word paralambano. So then Joseph, being raised from sleep, did as the angel of the Lord had bidden him, and took, that's the paralambano, unto him his wife. So this is a word for marriage. It's a word for a very special union. Took Mary as his wife. And so that's the word that's chosen in Matthew 24 for took. One will be taken and one will be left. So that's a really big deal. That helps support for the rapture. And then the other is left. What's that Greek word? And that is G863, and that's aphiemi. Aphiemi. Right? It's like almost fear. It's almost like the word fear. Aphiemi. And that is to send forth, to cry, to forsake, to leave, to put away, or sometimes it's like a divorce. It's a divorce word. To suffer. So the left won't be taken, won't be left. That's a really negative, scary word. And you'll see the root word of that. You can see that it's actually tied to separation. It's tied to, let's see what else, departure. And it's just a negative word. Okay, so it's paralambano versus aphiemi. Aphiemi is G863, and paralambano is to be taken in a good sense. And Luke 17, we got that same idea. One will be taken, one will be left. And let's see where this is. One will be taken. Here it is. Paralambano. There it is. And this is good for those of you that know this stuff. That's awesome. And those of you don't for those that know it, it's good just to repeat it. Luke 17:36 to be taken, paralambano, and the other is left, and that's a negative word right there. Okay, and that is almost like a divorce. And so that's that. So hopefully I answered that question for you, sister. And if I didn't, please clarify, and I'll take a look at the comments and I'll clarify some more. So I'll look back at the questions a bit more here. Ruth said, question, Matt from Wackadoodle Simone mentioned that the Rev 12 verse 3 about the second wonder. What is 9:23:24 is the great second wonder from the Revelation 12 sign. Okay, so Ruth, you asked about 10 minutes ago about the Revelation 12 sign. So I believe that the Revelation 12 is solely talking about Israel. I believe that the woman is Israel, and I believe the male child is the raptured group. Actually, since changing my mind about this in the last maybe month or so, this is actually more confirmation that the rapture is real. It's to some people it's disappointing, but in the same way, it's got more support to the rapture. So here's why. I believe the woman is only representing Israel and nothing to do with the stars up above. I know we're all, a lot of us jumped onto YouTube, and it was one of the foundational things to get us there. I do not regret thinking that the Revelation 12 sign, is Virgo and the stars and all that. I think it's still awesome if people talk about the stars, but I think that Revelation 12, the woman is only Israel, and I'll tell you why with the Bible. And I also think that the male child is only the raptured group, nothing else. I think it's so simple when you think of it like this. The woman is Israel, the male child is the raptured group. That's it. That's all. It's so simple. It's like grade 1. Okay, it's like first grade stuff. So let me answer why I think that the woman is only Israel and the male child is only us. Well, I kind of did answer earlier that the male child is only us. But why do I think that the woman is only Israel? And I'm just looking at here too, just the chat. Okay, I'll go back to the Bible here. I think that the Bible interprets the Bible, and I'll be kind of quick about this because I said I did go over this on my live stream, my last one, so I won't spend too much time on this. But you know how it says it's the woman with the sun and the moon and the stars above her head? Well, I'll do that first. Revelation 12, verse 1. Okay, so we got a woman. Here's a woman. She's got the sun, she's got the moon under her feet, and she's got 12 stars. So she's got sun, moon, and stars. Sun, moon, and stars. Sun, moon, and stars. Okay, sun, moon, and stars. Let's go back somewhere else in the Bible to help us understand sun, moon, and stars. Genesis 37, verse 9. This is Joseph dreaming, and he's telling this to Jacob, his dream. So Joseph dreamed yet another dream, and told it to his brethren, and said, "Behold, I have dreamed a dream more, and behold, the sun, okay, there's the sun, the moon, and the stars were made abasane me." I don't know what that word is, but he was dreaming about the sun, moon, and stars, and then Jacob interprets his dream right away. And he told it to his father, and he said to his brethren, and his father rebuked him and said unto him, "What is this dream that thou hast dreamed? Shall I and my mother and thy brother indeed come and bow down ourselves to thee and to the earth?" So he's basically, Jacob is saying, myself, the mother, and your brothers, right there, I, mother, and brother. So obviously Jacob interpreted the son to be himself, the mother to be Rachel, and the brothers to be the stars. And so the stars represent the 12 tribes of Israel. The stars represent the 12 tribes of Israel. Jacob is Israel. And without Rachel, we wouldn't have the 12 tribes. So the Bible is telling us that the woman in Revelation 12 is simply Israel. It's nothing to do with the stars and stellarium. In fact, Virgo was named by some guy hundreds of years later. And so I'm way more comfortable with this position because this brings extra support to the rapture. It's like solidifies it for me. And so there you go. So that's my perspective. So I don't think there's like a 7-year warning from 2017. I don't think honestly, every year people just make stuff up when it comes to the Revelation 12 sign. Like, oh, it's a 5-year warning. It's a 4-year warning. It's a 3-year warning. It's a next year. Some people will say it's an 8-year warning just because if we're still here, and then if we're still here, it's a 10-year warning from, why are people just making up random year warnings? Honestly, I don't even know. So, but I do think that for me, it's like, this is really reaffirming that the rapture is real, and that the male child is the raptured group, and the woman is Israel. Let me read you another awesome verse to support this, and then who's with us right now, Island Girl, reminded me of this verse, and I think this is really critical. So, and of course, let me see. It's Galatians 4. Where is it? Galatians chapter 4. And Galatians 4:26. But Jerusalem, which is above, is free, which is the mother of us all. So Jerusalem is the mother of us all. And there you go. We're the child. Jerusalem is the mother. That's just how it goes. I can go through the Bible too and show you some more verses on that. Actually, the verse that is really so critical to this whole video, when they say peace and security, then sudden destruction comes upon them. But what does it say? As travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. Okay, so this is a big deal. God is giving us a big, easy clue. It's going to be like a woman in travail with a child. So here we are looking at these news headlines, peace and security. And the next clue after this peace and security hint is it's going to be like a woman with a child. Well, we know that Israel is the woman, and we are the child waiting to be caught up to rule with God. And so all these things are kind of coming and just connecting really, really beautifully with what time we're at. And I'm pretty convinced, I've said this many times before, but I'm pretty convinced that Jesus died in 31 AD. And so I think that it makes so much sense that he would come back 2000 or even 2001 year after the cross date. It makes a lot of sense. So here we are in this really special season. I don't know for sure when it's going to happen, but I like the position we're in right now. We're looking at biblical prophecy and looking at the headlines and seeing where everything's at. Just going to go look at the comments, see if there's any other questions while we're talking about that. Pierce 77 question: does anyone know how long it took Jacob to get to Laban's house before he began to work for Leah and Rachel? So I've actually recorded a video on this, and I'll put up a more thorough one with charts and stuff. I believe that Jacob was 84 years old when he married both Leah and Rachel. 84 years old when he married both Leah and Rachel at the same time. I believe that their marriage was 7 days apart in the same month. And I believe that Jacob was 84 years old when he married Leah and Rachel. I'll show you that video will pop out at some point this week. Already recorded it. But in 1948, if you plus 84 years old, that gets you to 2032. When Jesus hopefully comes down at his second coming, if that is in fact the second coming, and unites the Jew and the Gentile, the Leah and the Rachel. You guys get it? That means if he married them both at 84, Jacob's trouble would have started when he was 77 years old. 1948 plus 77 is 2025. So Jacob's literal trouble, if my calculations are correct, started when he was 77 years old, which equates to 2025. 2025 is what? 3 months away? Kind of 90 days away or something like that. Interesting. Interesting how this timing is really literally fitting potentially with Jacob's true lifespan. So look out for that video. That's going to come soon, and probably in a couple of days with charts, and you can see how I got to it. It's kind of a long explanation to get to that. Yeah, you kind of have to count backwards. Cher says, "Who are the two witnesses?" Well, there was a guy on my live stream a couple months ago. He said he was one of the witnesses. I should have asked who the other guy was. So sorry, Cher. If somebody comes on and says they're one of the witnesses, just ask them who the other one is for me, because I'd like to know. I'd like to know. Janet says Moses and Elijah. Yeah, that's possible. Question. We always talk about our marriage to the Lord after the rapture, but what about the ones that believe after the rapture? Not quite sure I understand that question, Melissa. We always talk about our marriage to the Lord after the rapture, but what about the ones that believe after the rapture? Oh, okay. I believe that there will be lots of tribulation saints, if that's what you're asking, Melissa. I believe that people can still come to the faith after the rapture. It's just they're kind of on a different bus, if you will. Right now, it's sort of the easy bus. It's just you believe in Jesus, right? Romans 10, 9 through 13. Believe in your heart, confess with your mouth. It's kind of simple. After the rapture, if you're not a believer now, after the rapture, you're going to have to say it and show it. You're going to have to actually deny the mark of the beast and probably die for your faith, be beheaded. And that's why I think this thing with Turkey is interesting, because I believe that the Muslim religion will take over for the last 7 years. I believe, because that's in their belief, that they're going to behead people in the name of Islam for 7 years. How about that? On their Dome of the Rock, they literally say God doesn't have a son. There's no Trinity. Like, their religion is designed in opposition to Christianity. So it's just so. I think that if you miss the first bus, you're pretty much going to have to be beheaded for your faith. You're going to have to actually show what you say. So that's why we're on YouTube and doing all these things, because we're hoping that everybody comes saved, that you don't have to do all that stuff. Okay. Let's see here. Good to see you guys. Hey, dearly beloved. Hey, Pierce. Hey, Carol. Hey, Bert. Hey, John. Yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. Andrew says the birth pains being what's happening to Israel right now. I'd say yes. I mean, like if you think of it in slow motion, Andrew Sprouse, it's the big thing here is we have a 7,000 year timeline, and we're really close to the 6,000 years. And so we expect the millennial reign to start around the 6,000 year mark. And we know that we're pretty close. And so what we see happening in Israel is exactly on time. It's kind of like in the grand scheme of the 7,000 year plan, we're 10 centimeters dilated. We've been 10 centimeters dilated for the last couple of years, really. And it's just ramping up and ramping up in terms of the birth pains. That's for sure. Ramming for Jesus. What about Feast of Weeks 2025? I love it. I love Feast of Weeks. That is my favorite candidate. I love it. I think it's the perfect fit. But time will tell. I don't know. Just a human. Let's see. What else we got here? Well, Brian, you say that September 17th is the rapture. I encourage you, Brian, to say that September 17th is possibly the rapture. Another great way to say it is, I'm available to be raptured on September 17th. So if it passes, you're not discouraged and nobody else is discouraged. So, Brian, I would encourage you to say, the rapture is possibly on September 17th. I would give you a big high five, and I'd love you big time if you just kind of change your wording a lot. I see that a lot, and I always encourage people to say, it is possible that it's on such and such a date. Yeah. Same with you, Bert. I would encourage you to say, it is possible that the rapture is on the Feast of Trumpets 2024. It is possible. Because, man, have I been here before, and you guys have too. I've been in this position where you're pretty convinced that it's on such and such a date, and it passes. Like, darn, man, I just want to get out of here. And then my inner Enrico gets all, hey, man, it's gone crazy. I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to have these nachos. You know what I'm saying? Okay. What else we got here? Hey, Repo Man. Hey, Thin Drill. Hey, Nicole. Just look at the comments, seeing if there's any questions. Yeah, while yet still today, yeah, the Mahdi, they think that Jesus is going to come back, and they think that Jesus is going to say, hey, I was wrong. I'm only a prophet, this kind of stuff. They've got everything. If you study the whole Muslim thing, it's like, it's complete. What our book says in Revelation is the complete opposite. Their religion is designed in complete opposition of what we believe the second coming to be. Yeah, there you go. Janet, you got it. I'm available. That's good. That's good. I'm available. Just get used to saying I'm available. I'm available on such and such a date. I'm available. And Thandrill says, what's a man-child? You probably just showed up, Thandrill. We talked about the male child. I believe the male child is simply us. I believe that's the raptured group that's just waiting to pop out of this woman. There's lots of verses. I've got actually like 20 verses I could even read to you right now about how the Bible talks about it as a woman in travail. It's kind of all over the place in the Bible. You know what? I tell you what. Maybe I can. I'll pull up a couple verses if there's no other questions. The red heifer thing. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what's going on with that. I believe they're going to get old. They're going to be too old pretty soon. They're going to have gray hairs if they haven't sacrificed them yet. Ruth says, I was not referring about the rapture. Revelation 12, verse 3 is about Israel. Yeah. So what if something huge happens on September 23rd, 24, concerning Israel and a great red dragon? Yep. Very possible. Safe to say it's possible. I believe that the dragon is really the entity of Satan. I think the 7 heads represent the 7 kingdoms since the beginning of time. And the 10 horns represent 10 powers that are going to come together. And it looks like in Revelation 12, verse 4, that the horns are there. Like I said, the 10 horns are there doing their thing. They don't have crowns on their heads yet. But in Revelation 13, though, if you flip the page, it says in Revelation 13:1, then I stood on the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast rising up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and on his horns 10 crowns. Okay, so in Revelation 12, verse 4, the 10 horns. Revelation 12, verse 3, the 10 horns do not have crowns, but then the next chapter over, the 10 horns do have crowns in Revelation 13, verse 1. So I think on Rapture Day, there's going to be 10 kings or kingdoms present, but they don't quite get their power until the rapture happens. After the rapture, they get their crowns. And I also believe that they come after Babylon right away, and then they get the crowns after they come against Babylon. Yeah, Susan, that's a good question. I would love to learn more about Ezekiel 38 and 39 and Psalm 83. The question that you're asking, I think, is a solid, great question that I think deserves more time. Psalm 83, Ezekiel 38, 39. I've touched on these studies, but never really went deep into it. So probably will pretty soon. Like I said, I'd be interested to see how Turkey is involved with BRICS, if they are at all, and how that relates to all that. Bert, I encourage you to say that the rapture is possibly on the Feast of Trumpets 2024. You can do it, Bert. You can say it's possible. I believe in you, Bert. Do it. Do it. It's possible that it's on Feast of Trumpets. I'm available on Feast of Trumpets. Totally available. Will not be disappointed. But I encourage you to say it is possible. It is possible. Brooks family remnant arise says it's 2 groups of people possible. I'm not quite sure what that question is, but if I think I know what you're asking, I believe that there's a raptured group, and then that's it. I don't believe in multiple harvests, because it's 7 days, it's 7 years, and there's way too much typology everywhere, all over the Bible. That it's 7 years. And one of the big ones is Leviticus chapter 8. We are priests and kings. It says in Revelation 1 that we are kings and priests. And to be consecrated as a priest, you got to be in the temple for 7 days, and the door is shut. Nobody goes in, nobody goes out. So Rapture Day, the door is shut, 7 days of separation. Way too much typology on the 7 days. There's not going to be people coming up at different times with popcorn style. It's just not in God's law. It kind of breaks the law if it's anything less than 7 years. And so I don't believe in like 2 or 3 groups, but totally love and respect anybody that does believe in 2 or 3 raptured groups. Totally fine. But I'm a rapture group, and then that's it. And then the rest, God deals with everybody at the second coming, with the exception of the 2 witnesses. That's about it. Yeah, they receive crowns for 1 hour with the beast, and I believe they've got to destroy Babylon to get those crowns. So I think that happens pretty quick. Yeah, I think girls saying that too. There you go. Susan saying Feast of Trumpets is possible. I can do that. Yeah. Any other questions on some of the things we talked about? I don't think that peace and security necessarily means the Third World War, Primavera Sol. I think it Bible just says when they say it, when they're saying it, when they're saying peace and security, then bam, here we go. And that's what they've been saying that for the last 4 years. They're going to continue to say it stronger and stronger with peace and security until we're out of here now. These United Nations are getting stronger and stronger and stronger. The alliances are getting really big. And there's so much deception going on. It's nuts. Yeah. Hey, Amanda. Better late than never. Hey, Evan. Jackie says, what about tomorrow? Oh, yeah, 9/11. Yeah, tomorrow is 9/11. Just, yeah. Finger to your nose, 9/11. Ear to the concrete, 9/11. How many years ago was it? 23 years ago. Yeah, 9/11 tomorrow. 9/11. Let me read a couple of those verses that I mentioned. Well, we're just hanging out. God bless you guys. Love you guys. I thought I would just come on and talk about this peace and security stuff and answer any questions, because I know there's a lot of new people that they just woke up, they just got saved, and they're like, so what's all the basic questions, And this is a really great format to answer some basic questions. Isaiah 42, verse 14. What does it say? It says, I have long time hold my peace. I have been still and refrained myself. Now I will cry like a travailing woman. I will destroy and devour at once. So God has long time held his peace, but he says, I'm going to cry out like a woman in travail. But remember 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 3 talks about peace and security. And then it'll be like labor pains on a pregnant woman. How about that? And when Jesus talks about the time of sorrows, that word for sorrows is actually like labor pains. So Matthew 24, verse 8. I don't know if it's going to show on this app. Let me just see here. Sorrows. Yeah. So the beginning of sorrows is another word for childbirth. There it is. Yeah, Odin. Yeah, it's right there. So that's the words of Christ. I just shared about Revelation 12, how the male child is us. And so it's all over the place. And what about Jacob's trouble? What about Jacob's trouble? Where do we get that phrase, Jacob's trouble? And remember, the Bible tells us to comfort each other with these words. So that's what we're doing right now. We're just comforting each other with these words, reminding ourselves of the truth as we see this craziness elevate. We keep on reminding ourselves that there is, in fact, a time where Jesus is going to help us out of here. Jeremiah 30, verse 5, for thus saith the Lord, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. Ask ye now, and see whether a man doth travail with child. Oh, man, travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins as a woman in travail. And alas, faces are turned into paleness. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, otherwise known as Israel. And Jacob's trouble, I believe, started when he was 77 years old. And Jacob, Israel, literal Israel, will be 77 years old, 2025. How about that? Yeah. How about that? So there's a woman in travail. There's the analogy that the Bible shows us over and over and over again. As though what I could see that you're saying isn't the child Israel. No, I would say that the raptured group is Israel. Just check if you just showed up, check out the rest of the video. I've been talking about it a while, so you must have missed some of the earlier parts. But Jeremiah chapter 4 is another good spot, 4:31. For I have heard a voice as a woman in travail. How about that? How about that? Woman in travail. What about Jeremiah 6, verse 24? We have heard the fame thereof, our hands wax feeble, anguish hath taken hold of us, and pain as a woman in travail. This is a very common phrase in the Old Testament. The Old Testament reveals the New Testament. Or what's that phrase? The Old Testament reveals the New Testament. The New Testament is the Old Testament concealed or whatever. They complement each other. And so all this Old Testament is complementing 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 3. It's just kind of all over the place. Jeremiah 13, 21 is another good spot for this. Let's go get it. There's a woman in travail right there. Perfect. How about Jeremiah 22? Jeremiah 22, verse 23. O inhabitants of Lebanon, that makes the nest in the cedars, how gracious shall thou be when pains come upon thee, the pain as a woman in travail. The theme is consistent. The Bible is consistent with itself. Awesome stuff. Jeremiah 49, verse 22. Let's see here. The heart of a woman in her pains. And it says it again in verse 24. The sorrows have taken her as a woman in travail. Jeremiah 50, I believe this is the destruction of Babylon. Yep, judgment on Babylon. Jeremiah 50, verse 43. What does it say? As pains as of a woman in travail. I'm talking about Babylon here and a woman in travail. How about that? How about that? And again, in 1 Thessalonians 1, verse 10, what does it say over here? And he's comforting them that they haven't missed the rapture. And what does he say in 1 Thessalonians 1, verse 10? And to wait for his Son from heaven, whom he raised from the dead, and Jesus, which delivered us from the wrath to come. There it is, the word delivered. That Greek word is G4506, roamia, and to rush or draw, that is to rescue or deliver. Jesus is in the business of rescuing. He's in the business of deliverance. He's in the business of salvation. I mean, that is his name, actually. In fact, if you go to the Old Testament, this is a really fun thing to know too, guys. Salvation. In the Old Testament, when you see the word salvation, it's H3444, and that's Yeshua. It's in his name. It's in Yeshua's name to save. It's in Yeshua's name to deliver. H3443, Yeshua. H3442, Yeshua. He will save. He will save. Salvation, deliverance. That's what he does. That's his identity. And so we're waiting for Jesus to deliver us, or in fact, we're waiting for Yeshua to deliver us. In fact, we're waiting for Yeshua to Yeshua us. That's Yeshua out of here, man. So there it is in 1 Thessalonians 1, verse 10. And what does he say? Talking about the rapture, he tells us to comfort one another with these words in 4:18. He doesn't tell us to terrify each other with these words and build bunkers and try and buy enough pop cans to last 7 years. You're not going to make it, man. You're not going to save enough pop cans. You can't buy enough freezers and freeze, 200 pounds of ground beef or something. You're not going to get enough stuff to to withstand the wrath that is to come. You need salvation in Yeshua alone. You need salvation through Jesus alone. There's nothing you can really do. Now, of course, we should be wise right now in the times that we're waiting, because we don't really know how long it's going to take. We should be vigilant. We should be wise. We should be careful. But there's nothing we can really ultimately humanly do to avoid the wrath to come. Otherwise, putting your faith solely on Jesus Christ. Similar to when Israel was coming out of Egypt. Moses and Aaron, they do all these 10 plagues, and then they're out there, they're staring at the water, and they're just sitting ducks. They really are literally sitting ducks. Pharaoh and his cavalry come and chase them down. And it was like, all right, God, you got to do something here, because we're in big trouble if you don't come and do something. And so God, of course, intervened. Pillar of fire, cloud of smoke. He stopped Pharaoh's army. And Moses says, stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. And actually, let me go see what that word is in Hebrew, now that I'm mentioning it. Is that Exodus 13 or 14? Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Which verse is that? I've got it highlighted in my hard copy. Just give me 1 second, and I'll get it. Or is it Exodus 13, maybe? Let's see here. Yeah. Okay, Exodus 14, verse 13. Let's see here. There it is. See, that's perfect. Okay. Check this out. And Moses said unto the people, fear ye not, stand still and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will show you today. For the Egyptians whom ye have seen today, ye shall see them no more again. But what does this say? What does Moses actually say? See the Yeshua. See the Yeshua. When he says salvation, he's actually saying Jesus. He's saying Yeshua. So fear not, stand still, and see the Yeshua of the Lord, of the Yahweh, of Jehovah. And this is another word for Jesus. This is another word for Lord. You see that in Hebrew, this is Yod He Vav He. Yod He Vav He. Behold the hand, behold the nail. The name of God. See the Yeshua of Jehovah. And of course, you guys know the story. The water was parted, and they were brought over, and they were safe. And then the water fell on Pharaoh's army, and they were out of there. And it had nothing to do with what they did. In fact, they were actually a handful. They were a bunch of troublemakers in the desert, but still, it had nothing to do with their righteousness. God just simply chose them, and God chose to show up in the nick of time. Same thing with Esther. There were so many stories in the book of Esther where, man, if God didn't intervene, somebody would have been toast, And so Haman wanted to kill Mordecai, but just in a nick of time, things happened. The king said, "Hey, what was done for Mordecai when he saved my life?" And the story flipped real quick. And then Haman eventually was the one that was hung when he was intending to hang Mordecai. So there's so many stories of a plot twist. The book of Daniel, in the lion's den, God intervened. Could Daniel have withstanded all those lions without the intervention of God? Of course not. God was doing some big things and really intervening. And so where we are right now is we are waiting for God's intervention. This peace and security stuff isn't going to slow down. They're going to ramp this stuff up. The longer we hear, the more of peace and security we're going to hear. The more global governance we're going to see. I think we're going to see more rise of Muslim nations coming to power. I think that it's going to be interesting, whoever the 10th BRICS is. Okay, yeah, let's see here. Let me go back to the question. Let me just zoom back here. Like I was saying, a peace and security, I don't know. The Bible just simply tells us that that's what they're going to be saying, peace and security. When they say this thing, it doesn't even really mean anything. It's a false sense of peace, really, is what it is. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, Thandro says, what is good and what is evil? And how do I know the difference thereof concerning people? Can anyone tell me? The only good is Jesus. All of us fall short of the glory of God, Thandriel. I just noticed your question from 3 minutes ago. None of us are righteous. No, not one. The Bible tells us that. None of us are perfect. None of us will enter the kingdom of heaven without Jesus. His blood, it was perfect. He was the only perfect sacrifice for us. And it's only through the blood of Christ that gets us into the kingdom eternally with Jesus and the Father. Now, of course, after we're saved, we try and do good things. We pick up our cross. We try and understand what the fruits of the spirits are: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, self-control. We try and listen to the Holy Spirit. We study our Bible. We try and be the best versions of ourselves, knowing that we're never going to be perfect. And really, Jesus left us to say, love God and love people. To love each other to the best of your ability. Nice. Been watching with me for, I'm assuming you're talking to me, EE, or maybe somebody else. Not quite sure. Donna says the rapture is a false teaching. Okay, so 1 Corinthians 15, we're just talking about the latter end, the last trump. That's actually, let me show you that word, because you're using that as a proof to try and say the rapture is a false teaching. So let me just show you that. So thanks for coming out. 1 Corinthians 15, verse, I think it's 50. Let's see here. Okay, in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump, for the trumpet shall sound. Okay, so this word for last is eschatos, and this is a study of the end times. So this trumpet isn't reserved for the second coming or for the rapture or for necessarily the rapture or the second coming or any particular feast. Some people, a lot of people will associate this with the Feast of Trumpets. A lot of people will think that the rapture is on the Feast of Trumpets because it says the last trump. But there's going to be trumpets blowing continually, all the time. At all the feast days, God's never going to stop blowing his trumpet. So this word is really last is eschatos. You know, when people say I study eschatology, it means you're studying end times events. And so it's not the trumpet at the end of the tribulation. It's really the trumpet that is changing. I would actually argue that it's the trumpet that is blown at the rapture, because that's the time when the dispensation changes. It's the trumpet that kicks off the transition from the age of grace to the tribulation time period. But what I'm saying is it's not necessarily tied with a particular feast day. It's not necessarily tied with the Feast of Trumpets, and it's not literally the trumpet at the end of the tribulation. It's just simply the trumpet that's blown at the latter end. And in Hebrew, when it's prophesying of future events, it usually has the word Yom Akarith. In fact, I'll show you that right now. So let me write latter end here, and then we'll find some Hebrew words. So here's Akarith, and the Yom is a day. I can't find a particular verse with Yom Akarith, but you'll see latter end Yom Akarith. And there's your word again, actually, in 2 Peter 2:20. It's talking about the latter end. So this word that we see in 1 Corinthians 15, verse 50, it's talking about a trumpet that's, in my opinion, is changing from the age of grace to the tribulation time period. It is eschatos, which is another word for eschatology. What kicks off the end times events. Hopefully that made sense. Mike brings up John 6:44. Says it's his favorite passage. Why is it Mike's favorite passage? Oh, sorry, 6:44. Why is that Mike's favorite passage? Let's look at that. John 6:44. No man can come to me except the Father which hath sent me. Draw him, and I will raise him up at the last day. Oh, yeah, nice. At the eschatos. Very nice. Yeah, perfect. At the latter end. So it's not actually talking about the last day. There is no last day. God is eternal. There is no official last day. But eschatos, I would argue that this is the time at the latter end. Like when the tribulation starts, it's what the Bible's been prophesying about. It's been prophesying about this eschatos, this time of eschatos, this latter end time. So yeah, that's a good verse, Mike. I'll give you 8 points for that. Good stuff, bro. Yeah. What else we got here? Yeah, Thessalonians is pretty clear. God's land down under. I agree. Thessalonians is because the people of Thessalonica thought they missed the rapture. That's the whole point of 1st and 2nd Thessalonians. So that's the whole idea there. CLJ says, right, but I do believe that Daniel's 70th week does begin on Yom Teruah. Okay, so he believes that. I think it's reasonable to think that the tribulation could start and end on the fall feast. I think that's very reasonable. I think that it's very reasonable to think there's a rapture gap. So my personal opinion is there's probably a rapture gap, and there is probably the tribulation probably starts and ends on a fall feast. But we'll keep on studying and seeing what happens here. Okay, guys, so that's perfect. I think we'll end it right there. I just wanted to get on and talk to you guys. So thank you for hanging out. If you want to connect with myself or anybody in the God a Minute crew, lots of awesome people. Got an awesome Discord where we study and hang out. If you want to check out the Facebook group, we got a thing there. We got a Telegram group. If you want more notifications, other than YouTube, notifications, you can go on Telegram. And if I'm doing some lives, I'll throw in the videos there as well. Just extra notifications. Check out the community wall. I always post pictures there. If you'd like to support, there's donation links below. There's T-shirts and mugs on Zazzle that Katrina made for me. There's people ask for prayer in my Discord. There's a prayer room that you can ask for prayer. And I hope we're out of here ASAP. But until then, let's mature and grow in our faith. And let's keep on reading the Bible. Let's just keep on reading the Bible, getting better at it. I'm so enjoying this whole, I want to get out here, okay? But I'm really enjoying the studying. I'm really looking forward to actually getting there and like, okay, Jesus, I understand at least 1% of what you wrote down here, and I wasn't caught dark. Like I'm really happy that I'm getting an opportunity to actually study before we show up, and give him a high five and say, hey, I can't believe you wrote that in the Bible. That was good. And it's so fun to find the codes in the Hebrew. I'm like, that is amazing. I'm gonna give him a high five for that. The way he wrote it in Hebrew. I'm like, man, can't wait to play hockey up in heaven with you guys. I can't wait to play some jamming with you guys on the guitars and pianos and all that. A little word of advice for the new guys. If you're new to watching for the Rapture, please say it is possible. If you're looking at Rapture dates, I think that's awesome. Just say that it's possible. Don't fix yourself on a date and say it's certain, because you can disappoint yourself and others. If you don't know, ask questions. Don't be afraid to say, I don't know, and ask somebody or find some studies. There's so much information now online. There is no shortage of answers. God has given us all these fancy tools to find answers in our Bible. So many different translations you can read to get down to the bottom of things. We are certainly equipped. We are in a time where we are equipped. Wisdom and knowledge and understanding is increasing like never before. Daniel chapter 12 is coming to life. The wise will understand. Why? Because look at all the tools we have. And look at the Holy Spirit working through everybody's lives right now. So it's no mistake that you have been woken up. Lots of people having dreams and stuff. No mistake that you are waking up. No mistake that you are ready for Jesus to come. And just slow and steady until that day, until that trumpet sounds. Slow and steady. Keep on representing Christ well. And he'll come soon. So guys, I hope you're blessed. And we will talk very soon. And go, Jesus, go. We'll be saying that. Yeah, I like that, Evan. I like that. Tonight. Oh, wait, no, that's the. All right, yeah. I thought that's what you were writing, but no, that wasn't what you were writing. But that's what I thought when I saw it. Jesus is coming certainly soon. We hope it's sooner than later. Because America's going to go crazy, man. Hey, man, I got to go count some bricks outside. It's not fun. I want to count more bricks. If you guys didn't check out Enrico counting bricks, that's like a year ago. I haven't done it in a while, where Enrico's got his Rapture helmet on, counting bricks, trying to figure out when the Rapture date is. He's just tired of it, man. He wants to get out. Yes, the Lord bless you and keep you. May he make his face shine upon you. And that's number 624 through 26, the Arianic blessing. All right, guys. Later, buds. Love you very much. Yeah, Nicole said it. Later, bud. Yeah, later, buds. And have an awesome night. And we will talk soon. A couple fun videos coming that I had a chance to record. But I'll let this one sit a bit longer. Okay, talk soon. Love you. Adios. Bye.